So, are you thinking about making a move soon? You may be wondering where to even start, and that's okay. If you're watching this video, you're likely doing your research, which is perfect. I'd like to make it a little easier for you. I'm Cindy Bunch, and I've been a realtor in North Metro Atlanta for 22 years. I've sold hundreds of homes for sellers just like you, who are either first-time sellers or have lived in their home for a long time, so the process might as well be new with all the changes in the market and advances with technology. I've got a step-by-step guide on the typical listing process for you to truly make the home selling process easier so you can move on to your next adventure. One thing I'd like to point out is that while I'm going to go into a lot of detail, this is still a pretty broad outline of the process. Working in real estate is wonderful and sometimes complex depending on your specific situation. But that's really why I love what I do. I love to work together to accomplish your goals, no matter your property's situation. First step is we'll meet together for a consultation. So I'll come over and we'll walk through the home together so you can give me an idea of any of the improvements that you've already done. And then we'll sit down at the kitchen table and talk about what works best for you. You know, in all the years I've done this, I have really learned that every home and homeowner is different. So I want to hear from you what things concern you the most, what things my team needs to pay attention to especially, and we want to talk about options that make the most sense for you. At the end of that time, we'll come to an agreement on the plan that would work best, and we'll knock out the paperwork, so we'll sign a marketing agreement. The next phase is preparing your home to sell. This part of the timeline is completely up to you and what you want to accomplish before listing the home. It could be less than a week, and then sometimes homeowners take over a month, depending on how many things they feel like they need to do, and also depending on individual schedules. During this phase, you're going to be particularly paying attention to deep cleaning and decluttering. You want to pack up some things that you can live without while your home is on the market, and things that will allow the prospective home buyers, to really visualize themselves and their personal things in your space. So you start packing and you put those boxes or bins either in your garage, or some people rent a storage facility. During this phase, you want to make sure that you take care of any particular repairs that you intend to do, or projects maybe that you started but just haven't had a chance to finish. This is just the time when you want to go room by room and really feel like you're ready for professional pictures. When the home is ready, we talk, you tell me when you would like to have pictures. We will contact the professional photographer, get it on the schedule, and from the time you call me till the time we can usually have those pictures back, typically takes about a week to get everything back from the photographer so that we can begin preparing for the marketing. Once photos are received, we begin to get excited because we can now launch the listing on MLS, which is the multiple listing services. Our team posts on both Georgia MLS and First Multiple Listing service. In our part of Atlanta, we have 2 MLSs, and we like to take advantage of both of them. We feel like that benefits all of our sellers. And really, it helps our buyers too, because we make sure that they can find it on various sites that they like to use. Potential buyers can now begin scheduling showings to view the property, either by contacting our team or by contacting their agent. You might find it helpful to know that you get to set your own showing preferences. We will have that discussion at the listing appointment about how much advance notice you need, what kinds of things we need to be aware of. Do you have pets? Do you have children who nap during the day? If you still have a baby or an infant, that's going to matter to you about how we work out the showings on your property. Our team works to promote your property based on the custom marketing plan we make for your specific home. Some homes benefit with open houses. Most homes benefit from a video tour, and of course, social media advertising. We want to reach people in our local area, throughout the state, throughout the country, and the world. And fortunately, through all of the marketing that we're doing with online digital marketing, we have the ability to reach people all over the world. Now, your house is on the market. You are waiting for a winning offer. Now, I have to admit, this part can be a little nerve-wracking. The number of offers and how quickly they come in depends on several factors. Number one, the market that we are in. And as you know, the market is always changing a little bit, favoring sellers or favoring buyers. Right now, we've still got a low inventory, and while our market appears to be shifting a little bit, it's still pretty much more of a seller's market right at the moment. Since I've been selling real estate for 22 years in the North Metro area, I can tell you for sure the market is cyclical. I have seen multiple different types of markets, and really that's a good thing because we've learned how to adapt. One thing that is extremely important is knowing what your pricing strategy is. Depending on the market, depending on the inventory, we'll have that discussion when we meet for the listing appointment. Okay, so once you accept an offer, you sign a binding contract. That means everybody has signed off on all parts of it. The buyers and the sellers have come to an agreement. This includes details like the sales price, the due diligence period, which is the period of time for a buyer to be able to do an inspection and might request repairs. They may or may not do that, depending on what kind of market we're in. The due diligence period in Georgia does allow a buyer to change their mind. So we'll talk about that when we get those offers to start coming in, just so that you really understand what the terms are like. In the market we've been in, buyers sometimes provide an appraisal gap. What that means is if the agreed upon sales price between the buyer and the seller is not how the appraiser sees it. If the appraisal comes in a little bit lower, sometimes buyers give what's called an appraisal gap up to a certain dollar amount, $3,000, $5,000, $10,000. It all depends on what the buyer offers and what the seller agrees to, as far as whether they are willing to pay any difference if the appraisal comes in a little bit lower than the agreed upon sales price. Then there are financing contingencies. What kind of loan is the buyer getting? Conventional, FHA, VA, many different types of loans, or sometimes people are able to pay cash. But in a financing exhibit, it's going to define how many days does the buyer have to get their financing approved with their lender. It includes how many days do they have to get an appraisal back. So those things are pretty clear cut in the finance exhibit, but we'll go over them. There's also in the offer itself that you accept, there's a proposed closing date. And most of the time, most lenders want somewhere between 21 to 30 days in order to get a loan done. The attorney has to have time to run title and get the seller's payoff, and the lender has to have time to get all of their documentation done. All of these things affect the timeline to the closing table. Most often, when people are getting a loan, I see the contract to close period lasting somewhere between, I'll say, 25 to 32 days would be typical. If it was an FHA loan, then it might be a few more days longer. You will want to be completely moved out by the day of closing, if possible. Here's a pro tip: don't schedule movers for the day of closing. Get it done at least the day before. Now, sometimes you may be able to negotiate possession of the home after closing. Sometimes in the market that we've been in recently, a buyer is willing to give a seller a day or two, sometimes more, to move out of the home after closing. That is nice. It can't always occur, but it does give you a little more flexibility on your move out. So if you need that flexibility, if you need this to sell your home in order to purchase your next home, we need to talk about that. How do we make that all line up for you so it goes as smoothly as possible? This guide should give you a good idea of the overall timeline for selling your home. There very well could be special circumstances unique to your real estate goals and your property that would speed up or slow down this process. Call or email me to schedule a free consultation so we can work together on a plan for home selling success.